This is Mrs. Wainwright's math class, chapter 10, lesson 10.4. It's part 6 of these lessons. Today's lesson is multi-step measurement word problems. But before we begin, did you hear the news? King Henry drinks unusually dark chocolate milk, many large gulps. Remember that. And now on to today's learning target. By the end of today's lesson, you should confidently be able to say, I can solve multi-step problems that include measurement conversions. So let's take a look at example number 1. A leaky faucet in Susie's house drips 2 cups of water each day. After 2 weeks of dripping, the faucet is fixed. If it dripped the same amount each day, how many quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in 2 weeks? Well, let's take a look at what the question is asking us. The question is asking us, how many quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in 2 weeks? We need to know how many quarts dripped in 2 weeks. Okay, let's see what we know. We know that it's asking for how many quarts. That's important. Now, we know that 2 cups of water dripped each day. After 2 weeks of dripping, the faucet was fixed, so obviously then it stopped dripping. We know the same amount of water dripped each day, and again, the 2 cups were for each day. Okay, what are we going to need to solve this problem? Well, we're going to do step A. For step A, we're going to say 2 for the 2 cups times 14. So the 2 comes from the 2 cups of water each day, and the 14 comes from the 2 weeks of dripping, because we know that 2 weeks equals 14 days. And that makes sense, right? Because there's 7 days in 1 week, so 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, so that's step A of the problem. Step B of the problem would be to take whatever this answer is, which is the blank, and that's going to be how many cups of water dripped, so that many cups, and I need to convert that to blank quarts. Now remember, the actual question asked for how many quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in 2 weeks. So part A, we'll figure out how many cups of water dripped from her faucet in 2 weeks, and then in part B, we'll convert those cups into quarts. So let's move that over to the next page, get started, and see how it's done. So part A, we said 2 times 14, which is going to equal 28. So the 2 was the cups per day, and the 14 was the days in 2 weeks, and the 28 was the cups in 2 weeks. So again, part A, we found out that it drips 28 cups in 2 weeks. Let's underline that and get ourselves ready for part B. So for part B, we have our 28 cups that are dripped in the 2 weeks. We need to find out how many quarts that equals to, because again, the question wants us to know the number of quarts. Cups is small, quarts is large, so it's small to large, which is a division problem. We know that we have 28 cups, so we'll start with the 28. Our operation is division. And let's see how many cups are in a quart. We look at our gallon guide picture. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 cups in a quart, so I'm going to go ahead and put my 4 down here. So we have 28 divided by 4. I know that my 4 times tables, that equals 7. So I'm going to take that, write that right up in my line, so 28 cups equals 7 quarts. So looking back at this whole problem, this is what we're going to be thinking. We're thinking that 2 cups drip per day for 14 days. So we found out in part A that that's 28 cups drip in all. In part B, we found that 28 cups equals 7 quarts. So 7 quarts drip in all. So I go back to my question, how many quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in 2 weeks? And let's answer that in our complete sentence. 7 quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in 2 weeks. And that's my final answer. Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 1 right now. Let's take a look at example number 2. What if the faucet dripped for 4 weeks before it was fixed? Well, this piggybacks off example number 1. So we need to look back at example number 1 and change it to 4 weeks of dripping. So here's example 1. A leaky faucet in Susie's house drips 2 cups of water each day. Okay, that's good. After 2 weeks, wait, that's what we're changing. Let me erase this. and I'm going to make it after 4 weeks of dripping, the faucet's fixed. If it dripped the same amount each day, how many quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in? Again, we're changing the 2 weeks to 4 weeks. So we're going to solve this problem a very similar way. We want to know how many quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in 4 weeks. We know that 2 cups dripped each day, and after 4 weeks of dripping, the faucet was fixed, so it stopped then, and it had dripped the same amount each day. So first we're going to do part A like we did before, but we have 2 cups per day times 4 weeks. Well, there's 7 days in 1 week, so 7 times 4 equals 28. That's 28 days. And then part B will be whatever that answer is, which is cups. And we're going to change that into however many quarts that it's equal. So let's go ahead and solve this problem on the next page. So part A would be 2 cups of water per day times 28 days, right? Because we said 4 weeks was 28 days. And I don't know that by heart, so I'm going to do a quick little work it out, and 28 times 2 equals 56. So 56 cups of water drip in the 4 weeks. Now we need to do part B, so let's put a line to separate it, and we're going to convert that 56 cups into how many quarts? Well, again, we look at our units, cups and quarts, and we say that cups is smaller than quarts, so this is going to be a small to large. Small to large means we divide. We take the given fact, which is 56, the operation we just chose, which is divide, and we have to see how many cups are in a quart. So I find 1 quart and count the number of cups inside of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 cups in a quart. I'm going to say 56 divided by 4. Again, I don't know that fact, so I'm going to do a quick division problem. 56 divided by 4. This will be a 2 chocolate bar, a 2-digit answer. 4 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract 5 minus 4 equals 1. 1's less than 4, that's good. Bring down the 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 minus 16 is 0. So 56 cups equals 14 quarts. Again, this was a word problem, so let's go back to the original question. And the question says, what if the faucet dripped for 4 weeks before it was fixed? So my answer would be 14 quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in 4 weeks. And that's my final answer. Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 2 right now. So a final example, example number 3 says, a carton of large grade A eggs weighs 1.5 pounds. If a carton holds a dozen eggs, how many ounces does each egg weigh? Well, let's take a look and see what this question is asking us. It's asking us how many ounces does each egg weigh. Let's go and see what we know. We know that a carton weighs 1.5 pounds and the carton holds a dozen eggs. We hopefully know that a dozen equals 12. So how are we going to tackle this problem? Well, the first thing that we're going to do is part A. We're going to say 1.5 pounds, which is how much the carton weighs. We're going to convert that to ounces because the question is asking us for ounces. So 1.5 pounds equals how many ounces? Once we find that out, we'll do part B. We'll take that amount of ounces. That's the total amount for all 12, so we'll divide it by 12 to figure out how many ounces each egg weighs. Okay, so that's step A and step B. Let's see how it's done on the next page. So again, for part A, we know that the weight of the entire carton is 1.5 pounds. The question wants to know ounces, so we're going to convert our 1.5 pounds to ounces. Pounds to ounces is large to small, which means we multiply. I know my number is 1.5. I'm going to look over here at my conversion chart for pounds to ounces, and here it is right here. I see 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So the operation I chose was multiplication and 16. So on scrap paper, I'm going to go ahead and work that out. I say 1.5 times 16. Well, I see Decimal Dan over here. He has to dance his way out one place. Don't forget to dance him out. And now I simply have the problem 15 times 16. I can multiply this the traditional way, or I can use the box method. Whichever way you're a pro at is the way you're going to choose. I am going to show this in the traditional way, but whichever way you choose to solve it, you should come up with a final answer of 240. Then you move decimal Dan back in that one place, which makes your answer 24. I'll take that 24 and move it right up into the ounces. So 1.5 pounds equals 24 ounces. Now I'm ready to move on to part B. I have to take 24 ounces, the entire carton is 24 ounces, divided by the 12 eggs that are in the carton, and that will tell me about how many ounces each egg is. So 24 divided by 12, I go through my 12 times tables, I say 12, 24, that is 2. So each egg weighs about 2 ounces. I go back to my original word problem, and the question says, how many ounces does each egg weigh? So my answer, each egg weighs 2 ounces. And that's my final answer. Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 3 right now. So let's review. Often we are given multi-step problems, and we need to figure out one step at a time to get to the final answer. In this problem, we knew that in Susie's house, the leaky faucet drips 2 cups of water each day, and after 2 weeks of dripping, the faucet is fixed. So first, we needed to figure out how many days is 2 weeks, right? Because we know how many cups of water it drips each day, and we know that it drips for 2 weeks. So first, we needed to figure out 7 days in a week times 2 weeks equals 14 days, and that was the first part of our problem. Then we needed to figure out how many cups of water drips in those 14 days. So we said 14 days times 2 cups of water that drips per day, and we got 28 cups of water. But then the final question said not how many cups of water, but how many quarts of water dripped from Susie's faucet in the 2 weeks. And again, we knew that 2 weeks was 14 days, so we had to do a conversion. We had to take the 28 cups that we knew dripped in the 2 weeks, and we had to do a conversion from cups to quarts. Once we solved that, we were able to find our final answer. So it's really about breaking the problem apart and solving one step at a time. Hopefully by now you can confidently say, I can solve multi-step problems that include measurement conversions. Again, we will continue practicing in class. The big thing with this lesson is to break it up section by section. Good luck with the lesson.